Tell me, as you walk through those magnificent doors, what do you see?
Golden light and golden footprints. And it's so bright, but there's no floor. I'm walking on, it's been panned out as I'm walking, one foot in front of the other. And I'm barefoot. The light is so bright. Golden light, golden light.
Beautiful. Look around, see if there's anything you can see.
There's a few beings that are on my right hand side. There's three.
Three beings on the right-hand side.
And they have big dome heads and three eyes. I can only see their heads at the moment.
What color is their skin?
Green.
Green skin.
Correct.
And do they have any ears?
No ears. Tongues, forked tongues.
Yes.
And they have scales on them. But they're very much in the distance, and they're saying, we're not here to do any harm, we're here to observe.
They're just observing. So where have they come from today?
Neptune.
They're from Neptune. And ask them, what have they actually come to observe?
I'm asking them to come closer, yet they are saying it's best for humanity to stay in the space they're in. And they're showing me they're in a holding, it's like a cave, yet it's all formed with glass. And they're showing me that their observation is purely what humans are doing. And they're showing me the planet Pluto. And they're showing me that Neptune and Pluto are very connected in the sphere and in the realms of the galaxies. And they're saying that they have this glass around them, not because they are fragile. They keep showing me that they have to hold their tongues, they have to hold their tongues. They have to be quiet. Hence they're observing.
Okay, so they're just going to come and observe today. Ask them what their relationships are like with Pluto, with the beings on Pluto.
They're saying not good. The Plutonians have a very destructive vibrational energy. And Pluto and the energy in Pluto and the beings in Pluto they've changed the form of, as we're talking about Pluto, they've gone from being in a glass construction, now they're in metal, and almost as if they're in a jail cell. And they're saying that there are certain beings on Pluto who carry a huge amount of rage. And in the energetic beings that they are, and I'm being shown really dark energy, Jill, black, very black. And they have very, they are belong to the reptilians, and they have long tails, and they're very big, sort of almost like dinosaurs, the dinosaurs that had the big fins on their back
Mm.
and long teeth. And these beings are saying that they feel that, and they're showing me how they are shifting and changing as the shift shapers that they are. And they're saying that their observation and the reason why they're in a holding cell is due to these beings on Pluto. So hence they prefer observing without talking. Because if they talk, the energy changes. And these beings on Pluto are well aware as to the shift shapers that they are sending to humans. There are many humans, many presidents who have been controlled by these shift shapers. Shift shapers. They want me to be very specific. Shift shapers. They come in, they observe, they create destructive patterns, and then they leave. And many of these humans that they are directed into are not even aware. They notice a change, but they're not even aware as to how big the change is within their human body and their human mind.
How long do they take up residence for?
Anything from 6 years to 60 years.
It's
And
a long time.
it depends on the power that they need to hold. It depends on the human that is within the power. And they're showing me these three beings on the right are showing me a movie now. They're asking me to look up towards this movie that's out on a landscape. And they're showing me that these shift shapers that come in, they are from the dark forces, and they are led to believe that they are powerful, yet our light is more powerful. And these three beings know how they can be taken out at any one time energetically by these shift shapers. So they're saying we are not in fear, yet we are in fear of how much we share with you today. And they're saying, look towards the horizon, look towards the landscape. And they're showing me dots. Oh, the whole world is just open, like a map of our Mother Earth. And they're showing me Canada, America, South America, completely open as if I'm looking at a map of the world. And they're asking me to go towards Antarctica.
Okay, let's go.
They're showing me how the icebergs are coming down.
Right.
And they're showing me a searing heat in that part of the world. And they keep showing me the pictures of what I've already seen, what you and I have seen, and how these big icebergs, these massive big icebergs, are coming down, and how certain animals are going to become extinct in these parts of the world.
Mm.
And with Antarctica and the energy and the vibration, as there's been so much pureness, so much white light, there is Lemurian energy that is in Antarctica, and the Plutonians are directing the frequencies towards Antarctica. And they're showing me the symbolism of arrows and spears, but the beginning of the arrows and the spears are searing, Jill, as if they're taking them and putting them in hot coals and hot fire. And they're sending this energy through as they do not want the Lemurians to rise. The Lemurians have a wealth of information in Antarctica. And these beings are showing me that through this transmission today, we can bring change. We can bring vibrational change so that the creation of what's being happening, as it is a creation, and so many of us as humans have been putting our energy towards all these icebergs, towards the polar bears, towards certain penguins, towards certain bird life that are becoming extinct. They're saying we can flip it. We need to put our energy and our frequency and our light. Our light is needed. It's so there are beings deep, deep, deep down. And the Lemurians are bright. They're beautiful. We have to stop the destruction, Jill. We have
Are
to
they there? Are those Lemurians there in Antarctica at the moment?
They are, yes.
And so are they living in a different dimension, or are they living sort of deeper down, or how does that work?
They're on a separate continent, but they're in a holding portal.
Mm.
They're being held safely in a portal. There's many of them, and they also shift shapers, but they're beautiful colors. I can just see them like how fishes' scales, when scales are in the light and they shimmer.
So pretty,
Like,
like pearls.
like mother of pearl. They're mother of pearl. We have to help.
Now you ask them, you connect with them and ask them how best we can help them today.
To send telepathic messages. They pick up. They have gills,
Mm.
and they show me they have telepathic frequency, and we all need to send them telepathic hope and peace. Hope and peace and calm. They exist in calmness. And these destructive beings know this. Hence, they're in this holding portal. They are wanting to come out and help humanity. Yet they know that this energy that's lurking, and it's a massive big void, it's a massive big dark portal, and it's spinning and spinning and spinning, but it's a suction. So if these beings come out of their portal, they will be sucked into the Plutonian's portal, and they will be held there. And they're not wanting this, so they are aware. So they're saying that in our 3D frequency, within our third eye, if we just think of the colors of mother of pearl and how beautiful those colors shimmer, and we send them peace, the strands of these shapeshifters, they're very demonic, these beings I'm being shown. They will start to fray, almost taking if you take a piece of cord and you do this, or a piece of wire and you do this, and it starts to fray, that's what will happen. The energy will start to fray as they know that collectively as humans, these destructive beings know collectively, hence they pick on one at a time. They choose one at a time. They know that our light, the rising of Aquarius is happening, the rise in the frequency of love is happening collectively around the world, and it's how we choose to see it. Many are still filtering through their fears. And as we telepathically send these Lemurians peace and calm, the fraying of this and the shattering will happen. They're showing me it's like shattering a mirror, and the energy will just be drawn back.
So I was thinking as you were telling me that, so we could definitely do that when we have our Zoom meeting with the collective gathering. But I also thought what we could do is we could hone in on that energy coming from Pluto that is being sent towards the Lemurians. And we could put up a mirror covering their portal and have direct sunlight going straight into that mirror so that it would reflect straight back to the Plutonians. So instead of sending them anything damaging as stuff, we would send them light so that they would become lighter. So connect with those Lemurians and ask them if they're happy to start building a mirror grid around that portal that they have, so that whatever is coming to the Plutonians could also bounce straight back to them. But if we could also just send light with it, would that help?
They're saying thank you for this. And there's one masculine energy that's come to the forefront. And he's full of beautiful, beautiful tribal tattoos. And he's half man and half horse. And he's huge. And he's saying, we would rather put a spider web, as a spider web is sticky, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying, thank you for that suggestion. These beings are not wanting to shape shift into the light as yet. It does not serve them to be of the light. So he's saying, we can all put a matrix in between, and we can all visualize a spider web. And the spider web will bounce them back into their sphere. And the Lemurians are saying that their light will go through the spider web, but to different parts of the galaxies and the planets. Their focus, he's saying, is to help humanity specifically. They've been lying embedded for millions of years. And now is their time to come out and help humans need help.
What way can they help us?
They're showing me within the waters, within the oceans. They will bring cleansing. He's showing me with one of his legs, his hooves, that when he stamps, the vibration will shift. He's showing me that specifically within the waters, they will help to purify our waters, as they know that water is becoming a commodity over time. So they will keep our waters clear and safe and drinkable. That's the most important way of helping us.
Through the waters. So won't you say thank you? We appreciate that help.
He says, thank you for our help. And he already is starting, they're starting to become brighter in their color. And they do not have human emotions, but there's a rumbling of sorts of the shift that's already happening, as we aren't the only beings, we aren't the only humans who have tapped into the energy. They've been putting out antennas and frequencies for the last few years already. And many of the different channels are picking up on the energy as they know it's time to rise. So he's thanking us, they are thanking us.
Great. And where will they go once they show themselves?
He says there will only be a chosen few that will see them, that will feel them, that will sense them. And they will be scattered across many galaxies. Yet in the human earth, they will be coming to New Zealand. They will be going to Thailand. They'll be going to the deep parts of Africa, right in the center of Africa. He says, because the vibration needs to change within. And then he's showing me right on the outskirts of South America, America, and Canada. And they'll be holding everyone coming together. They'll be holding. And he's showing me it's as if it's a lasso that is being spiraled across the world. He says, but there will be a momentous moment where the vibration will be felt across the world. And as they are placed in different parts, he says, these are strategic places. These are ley lines that they are being put in, and there'll be others that he's not mentioning right now. And within these ley lines, he says the frayedness of what he was showing early on about a cord, these ley lines, these energetic connections, will create a big golden ball right in the center of Earth, and will connect us to the sun, to the moon, and to 50 other galaxies around. He says planets are shifting, planets are changing. Astrologers are going to be flabbergasted as to what they are going to start seeing within the light years, within the different galaxies. He says, but strategically, the way they are being placed when they come out will be about this golden ball, where the vibration will be felt. He said, it's not about the crystal that's in the center of the earth. It's about more than that. He said it will be so bright that many humans will be turning away. Many humans would choose to not want to be around. He says, but he's asking humans to stay. The change is coming, Jill. The change is happening. New dimensional frequencies are being felt. And this big golden light will bring so much change within humans' hearts and humans' minds. Many of us will be upgraded. Many of us are being upgraded. He says, and again, he shows me with one big stamp of his back leg that the ripple effect will be felt. He says this will be a time where continents will be disappearing and new continents will be rising. He's not sharing with us right now which ones. He says there's so much fear that has been created around the changes.
So I wonder if you could ask him a question. And just now we found out from those people from Neptune about the Plutonians that were shift shaping into certain leaders. So when this big golden ball of light comes into Earth, what's going to happen to those that have come from Pluto and inhabited some of the Earth's leaders? How will that light affect them?
They won't be able to breathe. There will be a smothering. He says already what has happened is how many have not been able to feel their breath. He says, as he's helping me refine my breath, a different sense of oxygen is creating me to expand in my lungs, in my mouth, in my nose. He says there are many that are dictators on earth right now, and many have been dictated to. Yet the uprising of what is happening, he's showing me the Iranian woman. He says for how long they have been silenced. He says that it's important that we as humans collectively focus on the souls that are playing their part in creating the uprising. He says this is one small country that is making massive change around the world. He says this country is bringing many, many, many millions of us together in the hope, in the freedom. He says, so there will be many of the way showers that will be falling. He says, and what he means by the way showers is they've showed themselves. They've shown exactly who they are, their dark side and their semi-light side. But their dark side is shining through more so than the light side. And they won't be able to breathe. Many of them will die from destructive causes within their lungs and their hearts. Many, 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 many humans will have heart attacks. It will feel like lightning is shooting straight through their heart. There will be quick deaths. He says these are the destructive ones that vibrationally will feel this energy.
But not all humans who have heart attacks are destructive.
He says, this is true. He says, many humans are dying at the moment. Many humans are in suffering at the moment within their deaths. He says, and many humans are within these cycles of dying. And he paused as he showed me how I have specifically connected with a few people recently, a few of my friends that are seeing their family members go through some horrific, undeniably devastating causes, and how they haven't had compassion from medical staff, how they haven't had compassion from people within the servicing of others, due to them being in fear. They're in this vibration of fear. And he says that this is about the collective in terms of how those that are seeing others suffer are going to have to rise above their anger and their deep, 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 deep sadness for others to step back into their compassionate self. He says, even with the matrix, even with this spider web that will be placed in between them and the Plutonians, it is not destructive from their side. He says, energetically and in the vibration, they have to wait until the Plutonians are ready for change. He says it's easier for people to stay in their darkness, Jill.
Mm.
It's easier instead of rising above into their light.
But why have they taken so long to emerge? Why haven't they sent that spider's web to the Plutonians ages ago?
He says everything is about timing. He says this is a great question. Everything is about what is needed to be seen, what is needed to happen, what is needed to be shifted. He says that they have been in their own pod. He says it's the easiest way of describing it. They were locked in there centuries ago by these beings. And now, as we are starting to filter and find a different way of being as humans, many, 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 many channels are being directed. He says their frequency is being sent out, and many are picking up on the different frequency of light. He said it's all about timing. He says this was a very necessary play that is playing itself out in the human form right now.
So it seems like they have been waiting for humanity to get to a certain level of consciousness in order to, let's use the term, play with them, so that it's almost like they can bounce off each other's energy, which would then generate more energy in order to collectively work against the so-called enemy, being Pluto.
He says this is correct, and he's showing me the inside of a volcano and how it bubbles. And what happens after a period of time? A volcano erupts, does it not?
Yes.
He says, and this is what's happened. Humans have gotten to a level of such destructive behaviors, of such anger, of such unruliness, unlaw abiding, He says, many of the law-abiding citizens are the ones that are so unlaw-abiding. And he's talking about the authorities that are out there. He says, so yes, it's time where the volcano is starting to really bubble and it's starting to come up and up and up. And it's time to start erupting. This is exactly what has been needed in order for the wake up with humans. This is a time for waking up. This is a time for not noticing.
So people need to realize what's happening around them.
He says, yes, people, he says it's not a need, it's an exact directive. This is where vibrationally and within the energetic being, how we are pulsating in different ways. He says some are and have woken up. Others feel that they have woken up, yet they haven't woken up. And others feel that they are playing all parts. He says, and that's what's happening within the sphere of life, is that this is the time more now than ever for many humans to dissolve their anger, to dissolve their resentment, and to find forgiveness and compassion. And he's showing me millions and millions of embers, as if those embers are coming off a fire. And he says this is representative of how the embers are all little lights. And we're all lights on the earth, and we're all lights around the earth. And there are other lights, there are other beings within the galaxies that have not been discovered yet. And they will slowly but surely start to come out. He said so much, and he's taken me back to the volcano. And he says, when a volcano is lying dormant, it seems that it's in a space of harmony. He says, but when it starts to build and when it starts to bubble, it explodes. He says, and it's the aftermath of the lava that is coming down that creates even more destructiveness. And what does lava do? It burns slowly. He says, this is where humans have not been woken up. We've all just been in our space. We've all just been living lives like robots. We're wanting more, we're wanting more, we're wanting more. We're wanting better technology, we're wanting better cell phones, we're wanting better computers, we're wanting better TVs, we're wanting better houses, we're wanting better cars. He says, but what happens is, in the wanting, it creates massive contraction within our vibrational beings. He says, and he's taken me back to the lava again. As the lava is coming out, he says it's very interesting to watch how energy expands in the contracting times. He says, and what many humans will say, that by watching the lava come, they know it's burning, or they know that it's creating a very slow burning sensation if you watch it. And nobody will know how it really hurts until it hurts. He says, and this is where the embers, once again, is about the souls that are coming to the earth and the souls that are leaving. This time has been about a wake up, a noticing, and awakening of so much. He says, because we've been in a contracted space and we put our heads down. We put our heads down. He says, so as the lava slowly moves with the beautiful bright colors that it has within it. But then what happens afterwards, Jill? It becomes black and hard, does it not?
Yes.
He says, and this is what's happened with many humans. Their hearts have hardened over many centuries. And now hearts are opening up and expanding in so many different platforms, are creating more harmony. Yet in order for the change to happen, in order for those beautiful bright colors in a volcano to be exposed before they become hard, he says this is all part of the vital change that is going through our veins, our DNA, our cells. We are shifting and changing on a cellular level. Our DNA is upgrading. Even now, as I'm speaking and you are speaking, anybody watching these transmissions, our DNA is becoming at a pinnacle point.
How is that happening?
With each download, he says, with each transmission that is coming through, every single cell in the body is feeling a different vibration. He says for those cells that were in a contracted space, for those cells that were inverted, he says it's through the voices, through these different and he's gone silent. He says, and he wants to be louder. He says, through these different transmissions, what happens is each cell starts to stand up. He says, it's almost as if, think of it like this. When humans are in a war, if one set of humans is encroaching on the other land, they come in stealth-like, do they not?
Mm-hmm.
And then they rise up and then they start to attack. He says, now, think of this in a different way in our cellular DNA structure. The cells that are contracted are starting to wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And with these different downloads, with these different messages, the energy is starting to become more in harmony. And every cell is standing up as it's about the frequency, the tone, the exploration. He says it's almost as if you had to take an ampule, a droplet, and you suck it up through the glass. He says, and the lid is squishy, and you suck it up. And all you want is one drop, and it's one drop. And as the one drop hits my forehead, it will start to soothe through the rest of my body. He says that's how simple the vibration of change is happening through each and every one of us.
Thank you for that. I'd like to ask him why, when he made an appearance today, as soon as he arrived, I got a whole shiver through my entire body. Like waves, little waves.
It says, for those of you like yourself that are light bodies and the light beings that you are, he says, and Michelle said that to you the last time she worked with you and on you. He says, do you remember how she held your head and said, wow, what a difference it is to work with a light body?
Yes, I laughed.
He said, that's what's happening, is you are fluid and in flow. He says, and what happened was, it is almost as if he anointed you. In his vibration as he came through, you were anointed by his vibration. So there is a connection, Jill.
So that's why I shivered.
Correct.
Okay. And How would he like to be addressed today?
Just waiting as my son has come in. So he's just gone quiet. He is Hercules,
Hercules.
God of all wisdom, God of all wiseness. Half man, half horse. Horses have a big heart. So do humans.
So thank you, Hercules. Hercules, what is your relationship with Lemuria? Why did you come in and start talking to this human as we were dealing with the Lemurians?
I am a protector of the Lemurians. I have protected them for many, many years, he says. He says, I was the one that put them into this portal of light and protected them. As they are a very pure race, they only want good for other galaxies, other beings, and they want good for humanity. He says, does this answer your question, Jill? Or is there more? He feels like there's more.
Yeah, there is more. I've been told that there are a lot of earthlings currently living on Earth who feel that they have a fractal of Lemurian in them.
He says this is true for those that are in the know. He says there are many fractals of many different beings. He says those humans are incredibly peaceful. He says you've met a few of them. He says they only want peace. He said they would be referred to as the hippies of the human race. He says they do not like destruction. They are very warm human beings. They are very loving. They are very kind. They are very grounded. They are very directed around being around plants and nature and animals. And they move at a very slow pace, he says. They have a very strong knowing of why they are here. He says that we are fractals of Lemurian. He says, that is why I like being in water so much. He says that there are many humans who are starting to find their resonance. He says, and it's very important that we keep teaching about empowerment of self. He says that these beings that he has been protecting and holding are beings of pure, pure light. They do not know any negative vibrational words. They do not know any negativity. They have felt it. And they are now wanting to repel it. And he knew that in his energy, he was drawn to come in and create a safe space for them in this time of uprising. He says it's very important that he says this. Have we as humans noticed the uprising of feminine energy?
More so lately. It's taken a long time.
He says it has taken a long time. As the draconians have been very led and dominated by masculine energy. He says, so this is where the change is coming and happening. How all these very brave souls and humans are standing up. He says, and it's interesting that a small country like Iran is where it's taking place. And then the vibration is going to continue and continue and continue and continue. He says, like a lassoon, it goes round and round and round. And this is the energy that is, it is going to feel as if we are going to be out of control for those that are in our light bodies, for those that are very deeply connected to so much. He said, hence grounding is very important. Hence being in nature is very important. Lying on the grass is very important. Being barefoot, if we can, is very important. On the grass, on the sand. He says, and also with this lassooning, this vibrational energy of change, he's showing me as if many will fall, being knocked over. He says, and as they are falling and being knocked over, many will be applauding and roaring with such deep gratitude and satisfaction. He thanks you, Jill.
You know, thank you for that. With when he was talking about the lasso and going around in a circle, it reminded me of one of the questions one of our listeners had, and I wonder if he could help us with that. This particular listener was in a spaceship, and she saw that the beings on their belt had a circle as a symbol, and in the middle of the symbol was a triangle, and she wanted to know where these beings came from. What did that symbol mean?
These beings are Octarians, and the circle is very much about how energy circles around. The triangle is the Merkaba of where we once were, where we once came from, where we once originated. We were a speck in this Merkaba. So many are seeing deeper into the circle and triangle. There are light codes that are implanted within the circle and triangle. This specific listener has not regrouped into herself since this experience, he says. It is very important that she finds a way to regroup, as she came back as a splat. And she is still at times feeling the splat. He says it's this vibration. He says, and many humans have felt that as they've landed in Earth. He says, but the Octarians are peaceful. These light beings that are deeply encoded with many light codes. And they are gifting these light codes to certain humans, certain light beings within the 3D body. And the codes will be unveiled as and how we are ready to receive them in our upgrade.
Thank you so much. So ask him what his message for humanity is at this time. What does he see on the horizon for us,
Not
and
give up
how to
hope.
deal with it? Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
To not give up hope. to know that a lot has been disclosed already, to know that on the horizon, as you have put it, many will see the sunshine, many will celebrate, many will applaud for these devastating lower frequency times, the destruction that has been created. And he says he wants to be very clear, the destruction that has been created by these certain individuals with the dark forces. In the light of who and who we are, the time of change is shifting. We will no longer be squeezed as the human race that we were once. We are now open to more. We are open to hope. He says, and with hope, we create the divine within us.
Wonderful. So that's what the Lemurians were saying. One of the biggest messages, to please send the hope. Don't lose the hope.
Never lose hope. Hope is a very high vibrational word. It carries, he says, it's almost as light as a feather. When a feather lands, you can't feel it, yet you see it in the palm of your hand. He says, this is how light this word is. Yet it is a very powerful place within the human psyche and the human heart. Never ever give up on the hope and the change. The change of what we are seeing is still happening. He says they see it, he sees it within the different dimensions of where they exist. We, because we are in these bodies, take time to integrate things. We are heavier within these light bodies. He says, so keep light in these bodies. This is a time to be light. This is a time to drink more water. This is a time to eat more fruit, to eat more raw, to eat more vegetables. This is a time to bless, to be in gratitude. He says, through my hands, the hands of prayer. Mother Mary had her hands in prayer. He says, and if he was to open it up, it gives a triangle, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
He says, so let's all stay in prayer. And in the hope of what we know as human beings, we are all opening up in a different way. And it is happening quicker than I can blink, or quicker than I can click my fingers.
So ask Hercules why he decided to hang with us today, hang out with us.
He smiles and he says, this is not about choice. This is about timing in the field of light, in the field of consciousness, in the field of change. As the change happens out there, and then the change happens in here, or on here, on our earth. He has been waiting for this momentous occasion so that we can tap in. It's all about the tuning in into the frequency at the time, not the right time. He says that's a human condition. All about the time, and within the time, He has been waiting for this download so that we can connect. And he thanks
You
you
know,
once again.
well, Hercules, I've got to smile because I knew that Michelle was going to be meeting some auspicious being. So just before we started, I got her to wear her special outfit.
He says, and it's interesting, what viewers don't know and what you don't know is that she chose red, a very deep red. And in this red, many humans can see it as anger, or many humans can see it as powerful. Which one are us as humans going to choose? And it was a dress that was very tight fitting, yet it was very silky smooth. It was great to the touch. He says, and this is how they are within the light door. They are great to the touch. It is a soft touch that he's now stroking my hands with. He says, and they are showing up for us all at the same time, yet all individually, as many others are channeling and receiving the download for these times. He thanks you, Jill.
Well, listen, thank you so much, Hercules, and we'd love to call on you again if the timing is right, as you say.
He says, please do, as he is a wealth of wisdom. He is wise. And he too can shift into a she. They are not one energy or the other. They are who they are in the moment.
Fantastic. Any last words, or are we complete?
We are complete for today, Jill, and I thank you once again. And we are collectively waiting in Antarctica for the change. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And with that, Michelle, I'm going to count to 3. And by the time we get to 3, you're going to be wide awake, feeling fantastic and back with us. So 1, moving around and yawning, shaking those little toes, rubbing your eyes. 2, feeling fabulous. And 3, welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, look at my hair all over the show. I look like a mad woman today.
Sure.
Well, I knew we were going to get somebody special.
Oh, that was spectacular. Let me sit down.
That's why I had to dress you for the occasion. That was.
And I have to say, I look pretty good. I was like, well, I'll choose a dress. Why don't you? I felt like I was
So I better let the audience know, the listeners, just before we started going live with you guys, I was instructed by my guides to get Michelle to dress into something amazing and feel $1 million and see herself in the mirror, because she was about to meet an incredible being. And there we go.
That was so, because even in my mind, I'm like, wow, this is different, Jilly. You're taking me down. I like this one. Like, bring it on. I'm like, I'll dress for the occasion, no problem. It's very seldom I get dressed up, at any time. So,
yeah.
No, that was just, what amazes me is just when I'm out there in the field, I look at the time and where the time's gone, and I've gone, oh man, there is no time out there. It's something I wanted to ask you, because have you heard about the Plutonian energy? Because I felt like a very strong, like when you were asking the questions, it's kind of like you had this knowing, or you've either heard it or seen it, or
No, that was news to me. And I actually forgot, I wanted to go back to those 3 in the glass and then in the cage, and say to them, well, what have they learned? That maybe they're going to feel more comfortable
Yeah.
knowing that the Lemurians are there on their side, and then if the Plutonians are going to be in that sticky web, it's definitely going to help the Venusians as well.
It's
Oh,
interesting.
sorry, not the Venusians, the Neptune people. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's right. Okay. That's right. That's right. Okay. Now I remember.
Hey,
Because it was the three beings and they were close to Neptune. Is that correct?
they were from Neptune, and they were sort of green,
Okay, that's
and
right.
they were scared of the Plutonians. They said they were the baddies.
Yeah.
So they were really needing some help, and they couldn't say too much, I suppose, because they thought if they spoke out too much, that the Plutonians would come and say, "Oi," you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It seemed very close now that I think about it. In energy, it seemed like Pluto was very close to Neptune. I don't even know how that aligns in the stars or the galaxies.
we need to brush up on our astronomy.
I'm telling you, well, there's something, I don't have my phones here, but there's a I sent it to you last week sometime about that star that looked like a light code. Did you see it?
Yes.
So I think it's a on Instagram, I think it's called Starry Link or Starry something other. It blows my mind when they get these photos of these beautiful clusters,
Mm.
and to think that some of them are 47 million or 47 billion light years away. Like how they even get that information blows my mind. But to think we just little, we tiny little specks in this massive big universe that we live in.
But we're very big.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I really learned
Yeah.
on the discourse.
Yeah.
And yesterday, not yesterday, the day before, when I started listening to that again and understanding it on a deeper level, and it reminded me, they said, my main purpose is to teach people who they are.
Mm.
So, what we are multi dimensional beings with multiple fractals from many different galaxies and lifetimes. So you look in the mirror and you see a 3D, and you automatically assume that's who you are. But you don't see the bigness of who you are, the possibility of who you are. Because if you did, oh my nervous system, you would never play small again. You would never let anybody boss you around, tell you what to do. You wouldn't be a victim. You wouldn't throw a pity party. You would come here and you would live the best life. You would create, and there would be abundance. It would be amazing. So that's really why we need to start teaching each other and cheering each other on,
Yeah.
instead of this dumbing down and the tall poppy, well, like, who do you think you are? You're such a big deal or whatever. No, if somebody finds out who they are and they start vibrating and rising above, literally rising above the nonsense, we should say, oh, look at that rocket go. Hey, let's get some more fuel for you. How high can you go? Because if they can go that high, we can go that high.
Mm.
So we need to support each other. We need to build the platforms so that people can rise above and get as high as they can go.
Yeah. It's crazy, hey, how we have that human condition of it's easier to not want to see each other soar, or it's easier to not, like the picture I'm just being shown is like, if I had a feather here and I was going, and playing a game, and then the feather comes down and you go, because you want it to go higher. Now imagine if we all just did that for one another, if we all just thought we're feathers because we're light bodies, and we just wanted each other to soar and go higher and higher. And we're actually not going to let that feather come down onto this bed or this pillow because we're not wanting it to land. We're just wanting it to create that beautiful, exactly, to soar. And it's most certainly something that that you are correct. We're powerful. And I think I might have given this example before. I know that when I've spoken on certain podcasts, I give the example of being that, I mean, I don't know what the science is behind this, but if you think of a million odd sperms, okay, swimming, all right, one freaking egg. I'd say we're pretty phenomenal as feminine energy, number one, okay. One egg, guys, a million sperms, okay. I'll get there. I'll get that back off, man. That's how, anyways, going on a tangent. But if you think of how clever that is, okay, then the sperm penetrates that cell, that egg, and then we grow, Julie. We grow. You and I are both mothers. Not once did we have to say to our babies, okay, now, baby, get fingernails. Now, baby, get a print. Now, baby, get lungs. We just grew from such a miracle place. And that's how powerful we are.
And we never said to them, well, you jolly stupid. What are you doing only walking at 11 months? The last child I had walked at 10 and a half.
Yeah, exactly. I know the comparison, which happens from a young age, really. It's ridiculous. Oh, my baby's so-and-so. No, just be okay with that baby being at your baby's doing well, man, because that's what it's chosen, you know.
No, it's the same as like saying to the plants, hey, how come, little rose bush, that you only got 3 blossoms and the one next door got 5? Come on, up your game. It is what it is, right? I love it.
Well, I was just looking, you know, I love my pot plants, and I was just looking here because I've got a little aloe plant that's grown so beautifully. And, you know, the aloe is so healing. It's such a beautiful healing plant. And you may not think it because it's got little thorns in that, but they're just growing in harmony together, you know, and one talks to the other one talks to the other. And it's just of that giving of, it's just nurturing, isn't it? A little bit of water. And I just love how green they are. And if we just nurture each other, like you said, which I think we are starting to, not you and me specifically, but if I look at the collective and I hear how many more channelers there are, how many more people are seeing things or receiving things telepathically, how more we're advancing and evolving at a quicker rate.
Wonderful.
And I get so excited, man. I get so excited where I'm like, yes, that's the world that I want to live in. This is the world that I want to live in, where we grow each other, where we nurture each other, where we love each other. And when it's just easy.
Because there's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, they don't realize how big the cake is.
I know. So true.
Okay. So let's tell them quickly about the 17th of October, which is actually the 16th of October for most of the rest of the world. We can't help it that we are ahead of the rest of the world in New Zealand. So guys, Michelle and I are going to be doing a Zoom and a gathering for all of you, and it's all free. And that's going to be the 16th of October for you guys, but for New Zealand and Australia, it's going to be the 17th of October. I'm going to do a Zoom link beneath this and the times for everybody, but these are the times, okay, guys? So make a note in your diaries for the 16th of October, which is a Sunday, and it'll be European time, 10 p.m., Central, 3 p.m., Eastern, 4 p.m. on Sunday, Pacific time, 1 p.m., Mountain time, 2 p.m. In Africa, it'll be 10 p.m. and I think London, for some weird reasons, 9 p.m. So if any of that confuses you, it's going to be 9 o'clock in the morning for New Zealand time on Monday. But I'll put that time for you all. So thank you, Michelle, for that. That was awesome.
And Julie, just in case people wonder how, so we'll just put the Zoom link underneath here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then it should show them the times.
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, space is limited, you know, so come, you know, I don't know how many we can have on Zoom.
Oh, I'm not sure. So it's just first in, best dressed. Yeah. But if everybody can come in about 5 minutes beforehand so that we can start promptly.
Yeah.
And then Michelle has got a special treat for everybody. We're not going to say what it is just yet, but it's going to be pretty fabulous. So if you want to be there, we really look forward to hanging with you guys.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
So lots of love, and Michelle, you've got a YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel called?
It's Michelle Carpenter Medium, or Michelle Carpenter, just you know, and yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit spacey right now as I'm sitting. Like,
sorry. So the YouTube, mine is Jill Cole. What does yours say?
I think Michelle, yeah, it's Michelle Carpenter Medium. Michelle Carpenter Medium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. That's us, guys. Excuse me. So thanks so much for everything, and we'll see you on Sunday the 16th.
Thanks, guys.
Until then, lots of love. Cheers.
Bye.